Of the big announcement today for the future of San Diego.
That's right. State Assemblyman and former San Diego City Councilman Todd Gloria makes his candidacy for mayor official today.
If elected, Gloria would become the first person of color and the first member of the LGBTQ community to serve as a San Diego mayor. Another Democrat who you see there, Councilwoman Barbara Bree, has also announced plans to run as well. Current mayor Kevin Faulconer cannot run again because of term limits.
I guess first question like to ask you is why now?
You know, I'm running because I think that it's time for a new San Diego, a San Diego that's focused on real people and solving real problems.
They said he has mild symptoms. So it's like I don't know what that means. Slight fever, and then I think he's like has a raspy voice.
Yeah, I mean, like, does this make him a believer now? Like,
I don't think so. No. It's gonna get him probably out of the next debate, and then he's gonna take some cure and magically be fine.
So I'm Todd Gloria's campaign manager, so I run his campaign for mayor, and really my job is just about making sure that all of our trains are running at doing what they need to do. So I on any given day, it is just making sure all aspects of our operation are functioning, that they're working, they're meeting deadlines, and keeping the campaign moving forward.
The early days of Voice of San Diego.
Yes. Just for background, Barbara was the founding CEO and editor-in-chief of Voice of San Diego, and in 2005 built up to live on. If it seems reasonable, as he's making the point for in his worldview, that people should have guaranteed pensions, and thus maybe him.
I'm the field director, and I direct the field. But no, what my job is, it's really outreach to voters. It's really about making sure that we are talking to as many voters as possible, that we're recruiting volunteers, that we're getting people involved with the campaign, that they are happy, that we make it a good experience.
all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I've had a lot of caffeine, so if ever you just need me to slow down, and I know I always say that, I always say I've had a lot of caffeine, but this time I've really had a lot of caffeine. Lots of cold brews. I'm currently drinking a kombucha. It's 5:32 p.m. Let's see if I sleep tonight. Just let me know. Just say like slow down in the chat, and I'll try to slow down. Coda's gonna start us off with some announcements, and then I'm gonna jump into some of the stuff we have here for tonight.
What up? So I'm the deputy field director. So I work under Javier Gomez, who's my immediate boss, the field director. And our responsibility is the field side of the campaign. So on campaigns, there's two sides, like the political and then the field. The field is like the boots on the ground presence, I think the physical, tangible presence of a campaign in terms of like the volunteers, the internship program. And so my role is really any supporting work for Javier to be able to execute our field goals. Primarily it is our intern program. So we have a massive intern program. And so I recruit from all 4 major universities, all 5 or 6 junior colleges in San Diego, as well as the 40+ high schools. And so for me, it is basically getting people as involved into the political process as we can, and creating an environment and an experience that I wish I had gotten on political campaigns when I was an undergrad and a student. Okay, announcements. On Sunday, we have the La Jolla Lit Drop. This is a huge, high priority issue lit drop. We are going into the belly of the beast. It'll be 9:30 in the morning. It's a little early, but we'll be meeting at the La Jolla Rec Center.
I've been a Todd supporter for a decade or more now, so I've known him since he was working for Susan Davis. He's very smart, he's very strategic, he's very, understands that San Diego is a city that's growing.
Been a long-time supporter of Todd, think he's great.
Just seems like he has a good heart and has the people's interest at heart. And And I volunteered down at one of the museums in Balboa Park, so that's very close to my heart. And probably 4 years ago, Todd had come to a couple of our evening events, so he was very involved in the community.
I have been a Todd supporter from the very beginning. I'm a fundraiser here in San Diego for local Democrats and wanted to get out, and so I'm excited to be out here for Todd. We're going from purple to blue hopefully this year.
I just want to say thank you so much for being here in this election that is just 30 days away from the deadline, right? November 3rd, 30 days from now. We have a limited amount of time to connect with as many voters as possible. So the goal here today is to try and make contact with voters in a contactless way. So in normal times, we would knock the door, engage the voter in a conversation, and hopefully identify our voters to make sure that they actually vote on election day. That's how I've done this work for decades and decades, but because of COVID, we can't knock the door, we can't have those in-person conversations. So we're doing the next best thing, which is what we call a literature drop. You can't get this done all by yourself. You have to have a large group of supporters who are willing to do what they're going to do today, which is go door to door in the heat, in the sun, and it's heartening to think that our message is resonating, it's connecting with folks, so much so that they're willing to come out and give some of their time and their weekend to support our campaign.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. Are you just shouting out like addresses at us, or?
Yes, exactly. Or do you want to? Are you going to do it together? Let's have you do a few doors together, just so we can get the pictures, and then we can have you
Okay.
do it separately.
Split.
Yeah.
Give me one more yours.
The first one's 5794.
Okay.
Second one is 5776.
Okay.
And Nick, you got the pictures? Yep.
Easy enough. Called a literature drop. It's a way to just get some information in voters' hands before the election. I'm teaming up with Chris Ford, who's my endorsed candidate for state assembly. We're just trying to economize, get the word out. 30 days to go.
We would usually be knocking and talking to voters, but we're just mindful of the conditions, so we're just leaving extra information, some literature for them, so they know we were here and that we know that we're accessible. And then 5618 as well. So it's contactless APs. We're trying to do contactless voter contact, basically. We're going to move the left on forward. I basically run models and simulations and lists of different variables. So what we're targeting today is Democrats that are high propensity are most likely to vote in the presidential election. And that's kind of how we get our targets here. And then usually I limit it to more than one Democrat per household. So it's usually like a couple or a family of Democrats.
It's Todd Gloria. I just wanted to say hello. Hi. I'm sorry to disturb. I just saw the sign and I wanted to say thank you.
Oh, we're doing great.
We're
doing great. We're looking forward to the election here.
30 days. 30 days.
30 days.
Yeah.
No, we overdid it a little bit here, but I didn't.
No,
think
not in my mind.
Yeah,
and you got the right compliment. I like the vote. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Hang in there. Be safe. Okay,
Stay cool out there. It's going to be warm today.
We will. We will.
Okay,
take good care.
Bye-bye.
When I was growing up, I didn't see people like me in political office or reflected in government. Then again, we've never elected a mayor who's the son of a maid and a gardener. I get asked all the time, what are you? I'm a lot of things. Latino, Native American, Filipino, gay. But most of all, I'm a third-generation San Diegan. I didn't come from privilege. I came from grandparents affected by racism, but undeterred by it. Where I came from, you had to fight for your place in the world. I'm Todd Gloria. It's time for a mayor who works for all of us.
You know, for him, like coming from a working and middle class family, really similar to mine, is just, I think, an incredible story, and I think why he's been so successful, not only in this campaign, but in every elected office he's held.
He knows what it's like to be without. He knows what it's like to be insecure in terms of how expensive rent is, if you're ever gonna, be able to make it to school because of the bus or this or that. So I think with those experiences, he's able to really just step into the shoes of people and realize that the problems that they have, he's had.
My parents are working class folks. They taught me that if you care about something, you're supposed to leave it better than you found it. I don't think they intended that to be a recommendation for a career in public service, but that actually a perfect description of what I think I could do, right? Friends of mine who work in the private sector wake up and they help, increase profits and shareholder value and all that kind of stuff. I just get to wake up and make my hometown better.
So Todd's election will be historic for San Diego.
I think it is surprising to people to discover that there's never been a person of color elected mayor in a city that's on the border, that's on the Pacific Rim, that is so diverse. This barrier has not yet been broken. Here's an opportunity, right? We may be able to do this.
San Diego is the 8th largest city in the United States, the 2nd largest city in California. And for us to be breaking this barrier is something I think of national significance.
For him to be a person of color, member of the LGBT community, to show people that you can be what you want to be, or you can work hard and get where you want to be, I think it's huge.
Representation matters, right? I think a lot of people don't think so, maybe because you see yourself reflected everywhere, but a lot of folks don't, especially people of color, especially in politics. And so for me, as an Asian American, it's incredible to see an elected or a person or a candidate like him who is still part of that community and hasn't whitewashed himself or basically sold himself out to get to positions of power. My mom is not a U.S. citizen, but for her, she sees Todd as somebody who's relatable, who could be a part of that community.
And then for Todd to be a member of the LGBT community, as someone who can personally relate with that, I think, you're always told you have to work half as hard. You have to work twice as hard to get half as much, right? When you're a person of color and you're a person in the LGBT community, you literally have to work 4 times as much to get a fourth of it.
I think about what it was growing up and not seeing myself reflected in government and thinking as a consequence that people like me can't serve their community. There's an old saying that if you haven't seen it, you can't be it. This is a potential of allowing a lot of people, particularly young people, who may have aspirations to serve their community, that they can in fact do this.
It's really about showing people what is possible. You have to give the people something to believe in. And I think that's what Todd's election, his historic election, can be. We will become the largest city in the nation with an openly gay mayor once Todd is elected. I think it's just important for people to be able to see that happen and to know that they can do it too.
The election just over 2 weeks away. Many people in San Diego have already cast their ballots. Today, the 2 candidates for mayor began their final push to win over undecided voters.
New report and poll shows that Todd Gloria and Barbara Bree are in a statistical tie in the race for mayor, but it also says 1 in 4 San Diegans still have no idea who they're going to vote for to be the new leader here at City Hall. That's why both Bree and Gloria launched all-out efforts today to tackle these last 2 weeks of the election season.
You know, it's in times like this when you want to be in the fight.
We know that this city needs change if we're going to move ahead.
Just a few hours and a couple miles apart, Todd Gloria and Barbara Brie launched a full day of campaigning in their race for mayor. Brie led a car caravan through some of San Diego's poorest neighborhoods, calling herself a political outsider who will bring change to City Hall.
That I'm an independent problem solver, that I'm not beholden to the special interests, and that I will put our neighborhoods first.
Gloria got an endorsement from the local 145 Firefighters Union and help from County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher and Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez Fletcher to drive home the message that his experience is what San Diego needs.
Feeling great, you know, staying caffeinated and feeling good. You know, it's so good to see so many people out here supporting Todd, supporting our campaign, and just, you know, having people get that like campaign feeling of all together. You know, it's nice to just kind of be safely together outside to be able to do this. So. Here to speak for our firefighters, we have Todd.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? You excited to be here? On behalf of the firefighters, I want to thank you all for being out here to support Todd, wonderful candidate. We of course endorse and we support him. How many people are excited? In 2 weeks, campaign season is finally over. But even more exciting, who's excited for a new mayor, Todd Gloria, as our next mayor in 2 weeks? That's really the exciting point right there. So the firefighters are sick of San Diego, the 8th largest city in the country, America's finest city, getting second-rate service and facing the problems that we face. We've got climate issues, transportation issues, homeless issues. We've got COVID, we've got civil unrest, you name it, we're facing it right now. But what do we need to get us out of this? We need a leader with experience. Todd Gloria brings that experience. That's right. We've got 8 years city council, interim mayor, 4 years up at the assembly. That's the experience we need. We need somebody who builds coalitions, brings people together, all people, labor, businesses. That's why the firefighters are out here. We support Todd Gloria, and with your help, he's gonna be our next mayor of San Diego.
Folks, because who is the mayor sets the direction and the tone of our entire city, of our entire county. It gets set by this position. And we have a candidate the likes of which we have not seen running for mayor.
First Latino mayor of San Diego, the first Native American mayor of San Diego. He's going to be the first Filipino mayor of San Diego, the first elected openly LGBTQ mayor of San Diego. What more do we want?
You know, we are just 16 days from Election Day. As Nathan and Lorena mentioned, people are voting right now. So we are in an election where, as our chairman was saying a moment ago, it is historic in the sense that there's 2 Democrats. But as Lorena was saying, there is no question about the differences between these 2 Democrats. And in the last few weeks, you have seen true colors really on display. You know, they say that elections illuminate who people are, because it forces you to stand up in the public and say exactly what you believe and what you're going to do. And what you have seen in recent weeks from my opponent, and her willingness to embrace the support of someone like Carl DeMaio, someone who doesn't believe in pensions for firefighters, who strips death and disability benefits from our workers, to embrace that, to fail multiple times, to reject a homophobic agenda. This is a very low bar in San Diego in 2020 when you're asked if you will reject homophobia in this city, and not once, not twice, but multiple times failing that very low bar. we should reject someone who cannot do that in San Diego in 2020. And so we should reject someone who embraces Carl DeMaio. We should reject someone who refuses to reject homophobia. We should reject someone who embraces the rhetoric of Donald Trump. That is the difference in this race. Again, thank you all so much for being here. 16 more days. Let's make some history. Let's move San Diego forward, everybody. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm honored to have your vote, and thank you very much for coming to get a yard sign.
Gloria's opponent is City Council member Barbara Bree. We meet her at the home of a supporter as she's handing out yard signs and talking with a group of her backers.
You have a cat, too.
We have 2 cats, 4 dogs.
Wow!
Bree was elected to the council in 2016. Before politics, she had a successful business career, co-founding an e-commerce company and incubating other tech startups. Bree's platform includes banning dockless scooter sharing companies and short-term home rentals.
I was a businesswoman for 30 years in the technology world before I ran for city council in 2016. I've had a very diverse life. In contrast, my opponent has only worked in government, either for government or as an elected official. So our tax dollars have always paid his salary. There's a certain level of competence that my opponent simply doesn't have because he spent his whole career in government.
You know, this race did take a very negative turn very early on, and it didn't have to be that way. Acknowledging that they're both Democrats, we could have easily had a campaign that was about ideas and different perspectives on how we deal with issues. But for it to turn into things that, you know, ended up in personal attacks and, you know, other things, just it was very dark. You know, our perspective this entire time was that San Diegans don't deserve that. San Diegans are better than this.
My opponent's supporters have sued me, accused me of various crimes. One of her supporters was quoted as saying that I'm worse than the Oklahoma City bomber.
The race for San Diego's mayor is intensifying. Assemblymember Todd Gloria says he and his campaign have filed a police report after receiving a serious threat last night. He says his opponent, Councilmember Barbara Bree, and conservative radio host Carl DeMaio are inciting the threats.
It's gotten to the level where they are starting to use the fact that he's a member of the LGBT community against him. And, you know, this isn't the 90s, this isn't the 80s, this is 2020. And so, you know, it really is just really sickening to see those tactics brought down to the local level.
I want to shift gears just a little bit and talk about an issue that really affects everyone here in the state of California, and that is SB 145.
There's been a lot of misinformation and straight up lies about SB 145.
It's attracting some heated responses on social media. Is it true SB 145 legalizes pedophilia? It's far-right groups and fans of QAnon, a conspiracy theory, who have been spreading misinformation about the bill.
SB 145 is a Senate bill, 145, that Todd voted for. Basically, it is a law addressing unfair treatment of gay and homosexual individuals in cases of a sex crime involving a minor. In those cases, gay individuals were not receiving fair treatment under the law as their straight counterparts. And so all this law does is just make sure that everybody is treated equally under the law, that the judge has discretion whether somebody gets put on the registry, which was not happening for gay individuals, unfortunately. And so this is a law about equality. It is not a law that weakens the existing law. It does not protect anybody. It does not let sex offenders run free. But unfortunately, it's just been completely misconstrued and weaponized by our opponent and her supporters.
Now Todd Gloria and the Democrats that passed this shameful, dangerous law are trying to confuse voters by screaming at the top of their lungs, hate crime, homophobia, discrimination. Hey Todd, stop trying to draw the LGBT community into your mistake on this bill. The reality is you're trying to portray LGBT community members as wanting to have sex with 14-year-old boys and girls. That is shameful, that is disgusting, it's offensive. Take accountability, Todd, for your bad vote on this and own up to it.
the amount of homophobic hate that has come out because of that, I just don't even know how a candidate really takes that and is able to keep doing their work, because it is aggressive and disgusting.
I recognize as a gay man that is something that has been used very effectively against gay men for a very long time, to try and play into a stereotype that we are not trustworthy with your children, that we would harm your child if given the opportunity. I would never hurt a child. What I'm grateful for is that San Diegans know me, and I think they've seen through this stuff, but it still hurts a great deal. You know, I'm a part of a class of candidates in this cycle that have been caught up in this sort of far right-wing conspiracy that's impacting races at the federal, state, and local level, all across the nation, and many of us caught up in this are gay men. And it'll be interesting on November the 4th, when you sort of take stock of who was successful and who was not, to what extent these conspiracy theories had an impact on those outcomes, and ultimately to sort of pull the string on where does this go and who's pushing this and why. Right? When so many of us didn't understand the outcome of the 2016 election, we were so certain that Hillary Clinton would become our president, and then she wasn't. You know, it was weeks or months later that we found out or came to understand the role that Russia played, and the misinformation and the manipulation of social media, and you recognize how powerful these things can be. I think this particular focus on LGBTQ candidates, particularly gay male candidates, will be something that people years from now will really study and look at, because particularly if it's effective, this will not be the last time you see it. You will see it employed every election cycle because it will have been proven to be successful. My hope, my prayer, is that the voters in these respective races see through this, reject it soundly, and then hopefully we don't have to deal with this kind of baloney anymore.
The Democrats in D.C. have been and want to, at a much higher level, abolish our beautiful and successful suburbs by placing far-left Washington bureaucrats in charge of local zoning decisions. They're absolutely determined to eliminate single-family zoning, destroy the value of houses and communities already built, and what will be the end result is you will totally destroy the beautiful suburbs. Suburbia will be no longer as we know it.
I'm running for mayor to stand up to Sacramento politicians like my opponent who want to eliminate single-family zoning and take away local control of land use.
He wants to eliminate single-family zoning, and I believe that will simply lead to gentrification. He has voted for legislation that would allow up to 8 homes on a single-family lot.
I will not demolish single-family zoning. That is what SB 50 wants to do, is take away single-family zoning and basically allow a 4-plex on every single-family home lot in California. I am against that. That is not the way to solve our housing crisis, and it will destroy the character of many of our neighborhoods.
There is, without question, a lot of similar rhetoric between Councilmember Bree and President Trump.
Her rhetoric, you know, in terms of opposing new home construction, particularly multifamily home construction, is very similar to the president's rhetoric. You know, you see him say that Joe Biden is going to ruin the suburbs. Her turn of phrase is "they're coming for your homes," or "there goes the neighborhood," in reference to housing policies that I support. A lot of people believe what the president is saying are racial dog whistles, right? That suburbia is a reference to sort of white privilege, whatever else, and that Joe Biden's attack on that is intended to drive fear to that population. And when Councilmember Bree has said they're coming for your homes, she's never clarified who they are. But I think it's understandable that a lot of people chose to read that to mean poor people, people of color, people who you don't want in your neighborhood. And what I think is really surprising about that, again, is kind of knowing where her family's made a lot of their money. You recognize some of the hypocrisy in that. And again, that's maybe a parallel to the president, who's also a real estate developer.
You know, I don't know if Trump supporters naturally back Barbara just because she's the more conservative candidate. But her tactics are very similar, I think, you know, in terms of, we could go down to as small as the car caravans that she's been doing, but also just the fact that nothing is about what she wants to do in office, but rather why Todd is worse. I couldn't tell you what the first thing about her platform is. I don't know the first thing about what Donald Trump's platform is either. I really don't, because there isn't a tangible policy there. It's just, at least I'm not the other guy. And that's, you know, unfortunately, I think people are gonna make that connection themselves and they'll see that own parallel.
I feel like people are a little more discerning. Like, is there a vegan option? Great. We're almost in single digit. It's like 10 days now.
Oh, yes. 10 days.
You're not blending in. How are you? So we're here today in partnership with the San Diego Imperial County's Labor Council and the San Diego County Building Trades. We're doing a lit drop. We have a lot of working folks from San Diego coming here. They're picking up packets. They're going to go out to neighborhoods all across the city, and they're going to be in communication with voters, particularly voters who are parts of union households. Make sure that they cast their ballots, and when they vote hopefully for our candidates like ourselves, Sean Elo and Mara Elliott. Just try and win this thing. We just got 10 days left.
So we're from the Plumbers and Pipefitters Union, Local 230, and we're out here walking for Todd Gloria for mayor because Todd is the guy who's going to get the job done for us. He has always been by our side, always fighting for local hire and good jobs, good pay. And he really does understand working class values on every level, and he's dedicated to making a middle class here in San Diego.
Yeah, we're here fighting for the middle class. If this is going to college students, we're out here fighting for you guys. Here soon, when you guys graduate, you're going to come out the world and call it the political world and the world that you're trying to survive in. Get out here, do something. Believe in something, do something. Because if you don't, well, you're going to have decisions made for you that may not be in your best interest. So that's why we're out here walking. That's why I support Todd Gloria, and that's why the union's out here doing this. So believe that. Go out there, do something. Go out there and do something.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get complacent right now, right? Because like you don't want to hear any more of the political banter, but it really comes down to these local races like Todd, you know, LGBTQ, and he is a man of color. This is like the time that we need to start changing the faces that represent us and make it look more like our community. And I think Todd's that guy.
Because labor is really just working class people. It's people who, you know, are work really hard, they have blue collar jobs, and they come together to create an organization to support candidates that, you know, help working class people, and then also to demand their workers' rights, right? So I feel really good about having that endorsement, having the labor unions help us, because again, it's our way of, you know, sticking it to the corporations or whatever as a worker. So, you know, I think unions are the best things that workers can have, and there's power in numbers. So it's just like a campaign. It's building your campaign up. Same thing with unions. So
It's nice to have your endorsement. Todd's endorsements, I mean, really are also historic, and they complement just his historic candidacy.
You know, unconventional candidates often are the ones that can't get these kinds of signals of public support, and yet we've been able to do that.
If you talk to folks who have been in this business for a long time, they are hard-pressed to tell you of another candidate running for mayor of San Diego who has been able to bring people together from different sides of the aisle, really just to unite around his candidacy, to say that he is the right person to lead our city at this time.
The Democratic Party's endorsement has been huge. You know, we're running against a candidate that is a multimillionaire. She can write a check for any amount of money to run her campaign, and she essentially has. The party and the resources it's able to help with helps to even that out so that, you know, a kid from a working class family, someone who's still a renter, you know, even in his 40s, you know, that I'm able to compete with this person who's extremely wealthy.
He has the support of labor unions and the Chamber of Commerce. That never happens. They're at odds with each other at all times, right? Because they're advocating for worker rights, they're advocating for business owners' rights, right? And those things just don't generally align.
These groups who typically are on opposite sides on any number of policy issues are in agreement on this campaign. And if we can get them to agree on this campaign, perhaps we can get them to agree on issues that would expand our economy, invest in workers, protect our environment, stand up for consumers. Again, stuff that maybe in the past they would necessarily have to be opposed to one another. Maybe we're building a table that's big enough that everyone can fit around. And as a consequence, we will be more effective in bringing change to the city.
I would be remiss if I didn't say that, you know, I think probably the endorsement I'm most proud of is that of Kamala Harris, our United States Senator from California and the Democratic Vice Presidential nominee.
That was like a big one because she was still a presidential candidate. It was just like the national race being brought into our office was a really cool feeling.
The day before she announced she's going to be vice president, she posted a picture of her and Todd on her Instagram. And you know, to me that really warmed my heart because she knew this was the last thing she could do before she had to run her own race and to help Todd. And she did it, right? She could have picked any candidate. She was supporting a bunch of candidates.
How was that for you when she endorsed you, and then also when you found out she was nominated to be the VP?
Like, you know, teenage, screaming at the top of your lungs, you know, kind of thing. A lot because I just admire her so much. You know, we have grown to know each other over a number of years. I remember the first time she called me, I was at the gym, and I looked down at the phone and Kamala Harris calling. It just kind of was like surreal, right? I jumped off the treadmill and like ran outside because, you know, there's a gym and loud music and whatever. And we just had a really nice conversation, and that was the first of many. That was several years ago now. And since that time, you know, we have built a relationship that I'm grateful for. I'm just thinking about the fact that I think the last time I physically saw her was in this room. And she drove down from Los Angeles just before the primary election to campaign for me. And we had a rally here, and there were hundreds of people, and the energy and the excitement. And that was before she was selected to be vice president.
I love Todd Gloria. And I love him for so many reasons that are personal, but also about who we are as a state and who we are as a nation. And when I say who we are, my definition of that, which is what we can be, unburdened by what we have been. Todd Gloria represents that. He represents the vision that we all have of what are the promises that America has made, but have yet to be achieved. I have walked these streets of San Diego for years with Todd Gloria, talking with merchants, talking with families, talking with students. I have seen him when he has not held a title, but has always held people on his shoulder in terms of lifting folks up. That's who he is by character and nature. He was born a public servant. And we're here supporting Todd Gloria because he represents one of those leaders who has always been about representing the voice of the people. So that's what this election is about. And when you do the work of today and tomorrow and on Tuesday of getting him elected, you will be making a statement not only about who we are here, but who we are as a nation.
For all of us is really about saying that, we need a mayor in this town that is going to look out for, the greater good of everybody.
Todd's working on the biggest issues in San Diego. He's working on housing, homelessness, and making sure that we, after this pandemic, that we get our economy back and that we're able to safely reopen and have kids go back to school, people go back to work. Even through the pandemic, the biggest things we've been hearing are, how are you gonna pave my roads? How are you gonna get rid of all these potholes? How are we gonna help people living on the streets? And why can't I afford to buy a house in San Diego?
There are too many people in this city who don't see a future for themselves here. And if they do, it's them having 4, 5, 6 roommates. And that's not how it's supposed to be.
We're all told when we're young, if you work hard, if you go to school, if you get a good job, you will be able to buy a house. And that's not the case. If I wanted to buy a house, I work a lot. Right? I have a good job. This is a great job. I am so lucky. This is exactly what I want to be doing. And I went to school, I got my degree, I have this job now. And if I wanted to, I cannot afford to buy a house in San Diego. And I don't think that's fair.
I'm not originally from San Diego. I don't make, crazy amount of money. And so I'd like to see a future for myself here, but that's just becoming less and less likely to have a good future in San Diego.
Our message just really is that we want you to have a place in this city. We want you to be able to live in the city that you grew up in, live in the city that invested in you, or live in the city that, you call home.
Giving someone a home, a place to be, it's a human right.
We have too many people in San Diego that we have let for too long live on our streets, just unsheltered.
We are spending more than we ever have on the issue of homelessness, and yet we're not seeing the results that most would expect given the amount of money we're spending at this point. I would argue the existing administration has chosen not to prioritize homelessness until we had a hepatitis outbreak in 2017. By that point, it was too late to really get our arms around this crisis.
We have been the only candidate in this race to commit to ending chronic homelessness in this city and set that as the goalpost. There should never be an appropriate number of people that we somehow feel comfortable with living on our streets. Our goal should always be to house those people. Also, that message to our individuals who are homeless in this city, that there is a place for you here, and that we're not just going to abandon you because you have mental health addiction, a substance abuse disorder. There's a place for you here. We just need someone who's going to be at the helm to say that there is a place for you here and to fight every day to get you to that place.
Are doing our first day of GOTV, so Get Out the Vote is the last 4 days, the final big push to make sure we turn out voters and make sure that people who said that they're voting for Todd actually go out and vote for Todd. Super important, so we're filmmaking, canvassing, lid dropping, engaging with voters, talking to voters, so it should be fun.
This one shit, you guys are good to head out. I want to thank you so much for your time. I hope that you guys have scheduled yourself for another shift as well, because we're literally making calls and hitting doors all day, every day until election day. This is it. This is like the last ditch effort. This is everything that we've worked so hard for the last 2 years, finally kind of culminating into this final weekend. So.
Welcome everyone. Happy day 1 of GOTV. I think it's Halloween as well, so happy Halloween. But we're going to go ahead and make some calls today. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our last big push, our last chance to engage and talk to voters. So we really want to make sure we're making these critical, crucial calls to people who have not voted yet.
I'm with Democrat Todd Gloria's campaign for mayor, and Todd's native San Diego. He's running to lead our economy out of the pandemic, create good jobs, and end chronic homelessness. Can Todd count on your vote this November 3rd election?
Todd Gloria.
Awesome. Well, just to let you know, as soon as you get your ballot in and it's processed, you'll stop receiving all these calls from us and all the mail from the campaign. But other than that, thank you so much for your support and have a great day, Rhonda. That was like my only good one. Talking to a bunch of different people. Some people are really, really enthusiastic. Others aren't interested at all. So you get to really meet a variety of people through this, for sure.
My name is Nikki, and I'm calling with the Todd Gloria for Mayor campaign. Wonderful, thank you.
How often does that happen? You get hung up on?
Tonight I can drop an RV, tomorrow I can do an RV.
Of the people that
okay, for sure.
pick up, maybe like 25%.
Okay, gotcha.
But when they do, it's usually like right after you say, I'm for the campaign, and then they hang up. Talking another time.
Hello, may I please speak with Elizabeth? Please speak with Carlos.
Okay.
This is yours.
Yes, yes.
May I please speak with Cheryl? Hello? Hello, am I speaking with Steven?
It sounded like an already vote.
What is going on?
Today was good. I'm tired, but it was for a good reason.
2 days left. 2 days left. Find out of it.
Yeah, 2.
If it was 20, I'd kill myself.
2 days.
2 days.
You can't put that in the video. Oh, you can't.
Canvassing right now. We're a few days away from the election, so we want to make sure that all the people that haven't voted get out and vote in the next few days, or else they won't have the opportunity to.
This is go time, so just trying to get that face-to-face time with people, make sure they know Todd's message, know that, yeah, they only have a couple days left and their mailing options are coming to an end, so wanting to make sure we get to the polls, get them out there, and yeah, now this is the time. Raphael?
No.
Okay. Well, we were just dropping off some information about Todd Gloria. The election's a few days away, so we were just stopping by and. Thank you. Thanks.
When they're not home, we're just like leaving stuff at their door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're just gonna leave them some literature, something, some information for them. That way, like if they open up and they're like, oh, like, because sometimes name recognition alone, if you're filling out your ballot, is like a good way to be like, okay, I've heard about him, I've seen some signs. So the more name recognition, the more information out there, the better.
Looks like this. Kind of has like his main points, which is like affordable housing, safely restoring our economy, and also ending chronic homelessness. And then that's Todd. Our dude, and then it kind of gives a little information about him and also some of his like better known endorsements.
Hey, my name's Hannah. I'm a volunteer with Todd Gloria's campaign for mayor.
Yeah, I already voted.
Oh, perfect. Can I ask if you voted for Todd?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Thank you for your support. Yay, we got one. Oh, yay, thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Have you voted yet? Or you
Yes, I have. My mail.
Yes.
Hey, don't let's go there. I put mine in the mailbox.
Can we ask if you gave your support to Todd?
Yes, I did.
Oh, yay. We're so glad for the support. We appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye.
I knew him personally.
Oh, awesome. Love it. Even better. Hi.
but I can tell you we already voted.
Okay.
And we voted for Todd.
Yay! Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Todd Gloria's campaign for mayor. So we're like doing a last minute.
Todd Gloria? I already voted. We're good with it. Love it.
Awesome.
He's our man.
Support.
Love it so much.
Thank you.
Equality for all. Is what
Yes,
we're about,
absolutely.
So,
Appreciate you.
All right, cool. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
I think my favorite accomplishment is making it to the end.
It's been, you know, such a ride. 22 months is a long time to run a campaign.
It's been a wild year. And you know what, the common question I get asked a lot now is, do you still want to be mayor? Right? Understanding that the world has changed radically from when we filed to when we won the primary to where we are today. And my answer is yes, now more than ever.
There's also very much a surreal feeling to being here in this moment. I've been at this for 22 months now, and I could never have conceived what it would feel like being in single-digit days away from the election.
The momentum has been building for us for quite some time, and now I think the wave has like finally broken over, and now we're just gonna, you know, coast in to finish this out.
You know, I can't even picture what November 4th is like, the day after the election. I have no concept as to what that looks like. My job right now and what I am intent on doing is getting Todd and this team across the finish line on November 3rd and to a victory, and to a history-making victory at that. The rest, we'll just have to see.
It is one day until everything changes. I am stressed, and I'm very excited because San Diego is going to get a Democratic mayor who is grown up in Claremont, knows our people, and is going to fight for us. And I can't wait because we deserve one, and we're finally going to get one.
I feel good. I feel good about this election. The general ticket, you know, the presidential, a little more nervous. Todd, I feel very confident in.
I just really want people to vote and to care. I just want people to care. We care a lot, you know?
We're doing squats to help our lower back from these chairs while we make calls right now. Okay, so shorter length, and then you're just gonna literally drop down. Ready? Let's do some squats. You put your butt towards the back. Yeah.
Like you're gonna sit down in a chair.
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for your
I really like filmmaking because you get to talk to new people, and like sometimes you get really bad responses. Like one time someone was like, I'd rather chew my left arm off than vote for a Democrat.
Oh yeah, that's it.
But then you have like really good conversations with people, and you like hear what people in the city have to think, and like I don't really have the opportunity to do that anywhere else. But Todd, I'm pretty sure he's gonna win. Like we've gotten a lot of people who've already voted for Todd, and I haven't gotten that many people who've already voted for Barbara.
Looking at Barbara and who she is and what she stands for, and then Todd, like he's more representative of the city of San Diego.
Yesterday I was like dropping, and I gave someone a lit, and they're like, oh, is he Latino? I'm voting for him then. And then I called someone and they're like, oh yeah, he's Filipino, I'm voting for him. So definitely people want the representation. Yeah. Todd is a very diverse candidate who can represent a diverse city.
We already know each other. We already respect each other. We already know each other. Well together with one another. Parents work well together with one another.
Assembly member, now the next mayor-elect, Todd Gloria.
Thank you for giving us such valuable time.
With your help, your vote, will be able to make sure that even folks in San Diego have the opportunity to be part of a conversation about what this COVID-19 response in the 21st century. I know you guys have been working hard for a year, but the year is not one thing. So all he's asking for us is for 24 hours for us to have as many conversations as possible to ensure that San Diego gets the leadership it deserves. We gotta get these votes, all right? Thank you, guys.
I like that.
How are we feeling?
One day away. Exhausted, excited. Honestly, I'm just tunnel vision. I'm just grinding.
Coda's got this under control. Javier's got it under control. The team's doing good. Just 28 hours. Let's go get through the next time.
Is that you?
I've known who Todd Gloria was for basically my whole life because he was my city council member growing up.
I remember the first time that I met him, he stopped, he talked to me, and I felt like he actually listened to what I had to say.
There's no politician that I know who spends that much time with his constituents. I want to see him do it for the next 8 years, so super excited.
And he lives in an apartment.
Yes.
With no air conditioning.
With no air conditioning. He's a humble man.
0 air conditioning.
I mean, who else would want to spend like at least 10 hours a week doing like free work like while you're in school and working another job? And it's just someone that like he's someone that I really admire and like look up to, and it's also just really, really fun.
And we've been coming like at least like 3 or 2 times a week each week since around October, and I just can't imagine my life without having been part of this campaign.
I'm sad it's over. Yeah,
me too.
I know.
Me too. One more day.
We can go talk to Todd personally. Like, I don't think any of maybe Steph has maybe met Joe Biden, but other than that, like, I don't think any of us are really able to like.
I would love to. If you're out there, Joe Biden, I'm right here.
I think that people forget the importance of local elections. Like, you hear a lot of people say, I don't even know what's on the ballot, I just know the president, and they're like, I don't really care. But I think people forget that those are the elections that they can actually make a big difference on. And so if people just remember that, then they would go out there and vote. And I think that this year especially, people are sort of trying to understand that.
The national campaigns like for president embody really the larger manifestations of what we're fighting for down the local level. And so I think it's great if people want to support their candidate for president or what have you. But if you really care about these issues, I totally encourage you, get involved in the midterms, get involved in, find out who your assemblyman, who your councilman is, really get involved at every single level, because that's where you can make real change.
I think it's also important to realize that Todd has built a really big coalition. The next vice president of the United States was here campaigning with us.
We met her.
The last during the primary.
In March.
March 3rd.
Before Corona.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, the Sunday before the primaries.
Yeah, it was the Sunday before like everything got shut down. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was a crazy experience. I was hanging out with people on election night that a few weeks later were on ventilators.
Yeah.
And stuff. So it was really scary, but
surreal.
Yeah. Being an intern on this campaign is a great representation of what politics should be. Todd has never went low. His opponent is very nasty to him at times, and it's important that he never responded. He never took the bait, and he's had homophobic things, racist things thrown at him. Never took the bait, and I think that's what a true politician should be. And he showed us how to run a campaign the right way.
He ran his fight on how he's amazing instead of how other people aren't.
Exactly.
Rather than just like.
It doesn't speak a lot about your own policy when the best way to advocate for it is by like crapping on somebody else's.
I think it's actually good for everything.
You got food.
People's been here.
Yeah, right? A year.
Yeah, I got my 1 year ago today.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, we've been here.
Yeah. I gotta make sure you get to the next one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Every time I see Javier,
I know, you know what's happening. I try to stay over there.
It's just a shuffle from one place to another.
I know.
Guys, thank you.
Thrown around.
Is food here yet for them?
Yeah, it's on site.
Oh, right on. Okay. All right. Hey, do you guys, anyone need any more blankets?
No, we're perfect.
Thank you. Okay?
We'll get back to calling.
Hi, may I please speak?
Hi, my name's Jake. I'm with
thank you.
Todd Gloria's campaign for mayor. We're just trying to check in with voters right before election day. Do you have any idea how you'll be voting this Tuesday? Do you plan on voting for mayor?
Oh, okay.
And then she like started campaigning at like the events Mrs. Keir.
I understand. There's a lot of information going around. I'm well aware.
Oh, okay.
Right? Have you looked into the candidacy? Oh, bye-bye.
Hi, may I please speak with Sandra?
Hi, may I please speak with
My name's
Jose?
Rosie. I'm calling with the Todd Gloria campaign for mayor.
Trying to find someone. I feel like I'm trying to hacer tiempo. Muchas gracias.
We have over 125 interns, and it is such a diverse group of people that range from freshmen in high school all the way up to college grads and young professionals. I think it's a group of people who have never come together beforehand but are now friends and will continue to be friends even after this campaign ceases to exist. And that's the kind of the beauty of having a younger campaign staff, is that college was not too long ago for many of us. You know, I think Nick's the oldest one, and he's, I think, just turned 30. And so to have people who understand what you're hoping to get out of an internship is really important, and to understand what we can do to make it better is great. I really wish it was like regular election night so we could all go downtown, you know, drink and party, then celebrate what truly an incredible moment this is. But for me, I've never felt this excited going into an election, into election day.
Welcome to this News 8 update. Today, people in the city of San Diego are electing a new mayor.
Either Todd Gloria or Barbara Bree will become the first Democrat to occupy the mayor's office since 2014.
Of course, both campaigns were up early today. Todd Gloria cast his ballot at the registrar with his family. He spent the day campaigning with union leaders and then hosted a Get Out the Vote rally and a canvassing event at his headquarters in Grantville. Now, while some public polls suggest that this is a close race, there were a lot of undecideds in that poll. So Gloria suggests, though, his internal campaign polling shows a little bit different numbers.
I'm not so sure that it will be that close. What we're seeing in terms of our voter communication is that people hear our message of change for our city.
Thank you all so much. Again, just keeping the energy alive, keeping it going. I just really appreciate all of you making these phone calls, talking to voters, and engaging. And y'all are literally going to make a grown man cry right now, so please. Already emotional.
There's 1.5 million people, maybe 800,000 registered voters in San Diego. We're expecting an 85% turnout. We were expecting like the highest turnout possible, which honestly has been true. I think they have mentioned that it is about an 80% turnout so far, which is huge, but it's also like the biggest election, so it's like expected, I think.
That means there's only 165,000 votes. So that means that she has to make up 70.
She literally would have to win every single vote, and we would have to win 0 of them.
We won.
Yeah.
I'm the first one to call it. We won. I'm the first one.
God.
Stefan.com.
Yeah.
Barbara just wins all.
Well, now it just opens the floodgates for her to sue. Look at that. Look at that.
Getting close?
That map, though.
Okay, yeah,
because people don't live in those, right?
I know, right?
There's not just like.
There's like 10 people across the board.
Yeah. Like those aren't populated areas. They make it look like.
We had Wisconsin. Oh no, we lost North Dakota. Oh no, and South Dakota.
Oh my gosh.
No. The fact that 1.1% of people voted for other.
We could impeach Trump though, if he wins. If we
yeah, let's just do that.
As long as we win.
Let's just remove him from office.
There's enough illegal stuff we can get on board, I think. Alright, so is that 266 now? Four more left? We're almost there now?
Yeah. Yep.
Why can't they should just let us know at once? They should just be like, hey, we're gonna get this all done.
Yeah, and say, hey, you just hang tight, we'll do all the work, and then we'll just tell you the rules.
Like, but it should be so much faster.
It's like it's like I'm watching like sports right now.
It is faster to watch American Idol and to vote in American Idol than it is, you know, with the presidential election.
She thought that was so funny.
Yeah, wow.
Susan Collins is winning with 12% of the voting.
Oh no.
So close though.
They just called it for Lindsey Graham. AP race call.
You didn't get the tips either.
No, I don't get the tips. We're gonna flip the Senate.
Hopefully.
We're on our way.
143 to 39 so far.
Yeah. I don't know. We're really stressed.
41 to 39. Holy crap, that's so close.
Yeah.
Polls are officially closed. I didn't even get here. Here.
Floyd, yeah, you really did that. We made over 250,000 calls this weekend, which is absolutely nuts.
That's it. That's polls are closed. There is absolutely nothing we can do, right? So round of applause to all of you, all of you. Thank you so much for joining us this whole weekend. You know, Monday, Tuesday, calling, talking to voters. I know it's exhausting. I know it's emotionally draining as well. And I am just so proud of the amount of work that we've been able to do this weekend, the amount of voters we've been able to talk to, and just the change that we made in San Diego. You know, the electorate is going to be, you know, up and down the ballot more blue because of all these calls we made, because of our outreach. And so you all should be particularly proud of that because that is all from you all.
You guys have made this weekend and the last few months the most incredible time. You guys are awesome, awesome people. And I hope that I see you all again soon. Let's conclude this final Zoom session. I will see you guys soon. Thank you again. Take care. Stay safe and healthy. Bye, guys. Done! We did it!
We're done.
We're done. We're done.
Coda Javier, we have something really funny to show you guys.
What is it?
We made a heart on our back, and you've been iced.
Oh my gosh.
This right now.
I love Smyrna.
Where are the results are?
It's the old ones though. It's just the ones that we saw before.
Oh!
Which is still fucking killer.
Yeah.
Still 15 points. How far down is the mayor's race? Is it like super far down?
Yeah.
It's fun. I do filter races and I just check the mayor's race.
How do you do that?
See the filter races?
Can we take our picture? Oh, yes.
Right.
Can we take our pictures? Oh my god, wait, like how much we changed.
Oh yeah, take your pictures. Take the photos they are.
No, I want you to keep it.
You can take your picture if you want it.
A 24-year-old guy does not need like
weird to find with all this.
Yeah, I don't want to get pulled over and
and their names. Because Nikki said so. That's true.
Shannon, I'm putting myself on the final results show up on the TV when all the people are outside.
Got mad hot on me, come on.
Can we go somewhere? I don't want to go home.
You don't? Why not?
Because I'm terrified.
My mom just texted me and said I'm gonna throw up.
My dad's been like... The results up yet?
I mean, sort of. It's like the... Let's see. Still waiting.
Tonight, San Diego, because of you, we are poised to make history. While there are still votes to be counted, I believe that tonight is a night to celebrate.
You've been listening to mayoral candidate and presumptive winner Todd Gloria addressing the constituents tonight. Of course, we will continue to follow those numbers, but right now he's up on a pretty big margin for Barbara Bree.
I wanted to introduce you to the next mayor of San Diego, Todd Gloria.
Get Todd!
Guys, I hope all of you are just celebrating socially distanced. Every data point that we have in front of us right now really tells us that this is not only good, but it's real, it's durable, and we're gonna win. When we started this campaign a number of months ago, 22 months ago, in fact, we weren't quite sure how we would get from that day to this day. And so many of you believed in me and in this campaign in a way that I could never have hoped. And yet here we are with victorious.
We have made history tonight. We have changed the course of this city forever. Right? We are able to open up doors for people. We're able to see people in government that look like us. And I cannot be more proud of the broad coalition, the diverse coalition that we have built. You are all members of the Todd Squad, and you should be so proud of it tonight. Like I said, this victory is not, like he said, it's not about Todd, right? It's about all of us.
San Diego will soon have a new mayor. It's Todd Gloria. San Diego mayoral candidate and City Council President Pro Tem Barbara Bree conceded this morning. San Diego is now the country's largest city to elect an openly gay man as mayor.
That's right, and a person of color as well. So this is a momentous feat, according to the Gloria campaign. Barbara Bree officially conceding as of just about a half hour ago. She made that announcement in a Zoom call. So leading up to this election, Bree and Gloria were virtually tied in the polls. As of today, Gloria holds 56% of the vote and Bree has 44%. The difference between the two candidates was about 70,000 votes. This means that Todd Gloria will be San Diego's next mayor, taking the position held by Kevin Faulconer right now. It will be the first time a Democrat has held the position since 2014. Again, he'll also be the first mayor of color and the first openly gay mayor to be elected in San Diego. There is a possibility that there are still more votes to be counted, but we can say that Todd Gloria will be the next mayor of San Diego as Barbara Bree has conceded this election. It is important to note as well that she said she had to choose between running for mayor and running for another term on city council, and she chose mayor. So because of that, she will not hold public office into this upcoming term beyond December.
The Honorable Todd Gloria, are you ready?
I am.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Todd Gloria, do solemnly swear.
I, Todd Gloria, do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
That I will well and faithfully discharge.
That I will well and faithfully discharge.
The duties upon which I'm about to enter.
The duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations, Mayor Gloria.